Just going to choose this one right here from Fatima or Fatima, who took to Twitter to express her frustration. She said, quote, "Coverage about Queen Elizabeth's reign and legacy is incomplete and vastly inaccurate if it doesn't include her part in British colonialism and its devastating impact." So let's talk about this. A man who's been here many times, Dr. Aaron Smith from Temple University. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about what I just said? Would you agree with that tweet that I just read?
I think it's accurate. I think it's important to delineate between individuals and institutions or symbols that they represent or legacies that they embody. Because people can be charming and still represent, a legacy that's not so charming and not so endearing.
It's not charming at all. That's why and again, this is just my opinion, I haven't been watching this wall-to-wall coverage because it makes me uncomfortable to watch it and almost disgusted, because why do you think there is so much adulation over this family?
You know what it reminds me of? If you ever saw a hypnotist, and they'll say, "You'll behave a certain way until I say a certain word."
Right.
And then you'll snap back. And we've had this progressive movement of Black Lives Matter and allyship and these hard conversations. And it's almost as though something happened and it snapped people back into the illusion and the matrix of colonialism and this celebration of a legacy of disenfranchisement and exploitation, where a lot of people are like, "I thought we were making progress. What just happened?"
That's kind of the way I felt all weekend. I kept shutting it off, but it's hard to get away from it. Maybe it's that show, The Crown.
I don't think that's helping.
I don't think it's helping either. But I'll tell you what also I thought was helping was social media. Because with all the eyes of social media, it's hard to enslave people and oppress people and kill people and pillage people if all of our eyes are on it. I can kind of see how it happened before, we knew all of what was going on. What the monarchy was doing around the world. Yeah,
and there's so much that's unfinished. There's still people who are fighting to get their land back. There's still people who are fighting for reparations. It's not, it's not settled to the extent where we can just say, how was this person as an individual? But I think it's important to have the empathy to respect the fact that some people view somebody as an individual. Right. There are people who are mourning a mother, mourning a grandmother, and for some people, it's a different interpretation of an individual. But the institution of colonialism has to be dismantled and critiqued effectively. We have to separate the two.
But I'm not talking specifically about Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah, of course.
But a lot of people that came before her. But I think maybe she kind of turned her head at times, too.
Definitely. The motto her mother gave her was, never complain, never explain. And she seems to have held fast to that advice throughout her life as well.
I know that she doesn't make laws, it's Parliament and all that, but she does. And so will King Charles, have some kind of influence over Parliament, right?
Oh, definitely. When your face is on money and you have, all these people who adore you to this extent, you have, what they call influencers, in social media terminology. You're such an influencer with your wealth and what you embody that you can shift culture internationally. So I think that it was a wasted opportunity to a large extent where a lot of progress could have been made, but we held fast to an illusion instead of leaning forward into uncomfortable conversations and true progress.
Let's put up a map of where England had their hands and fingers in 1921.
25% of the world.
25% of the world, and they wanted even more.
Oh, yeah.
I want that and that and that. They still have Canada. So we might, let's put up a map of how it is today. We just changed the color a little bit, but a lot of that red color is now gone, but look how much is not gone. The turquoise and the
Australia
blue.
Still with the Aboriginal people there.
New Zealand says they're not going to break away. I think Jamaica wants to.
And it's questions about whether UK will become a republic. And those are the kind of conversations and opportunities I think that are important, like ways to move forward, ways to bury a legacy as we bury individuals is important. We can bury people with respect and dignity, but still see it as a bookend and an opportunity for a new chapter in international politics and more equity and responsibility as a global community.
Yeah. I know some people would say, well, that map, look how colored in that map was from 1921. And then in 52, when the Queen became Queen, less and less countries were colonized, I guess the word is. But then again,
It's like that quote from Malcolm X: "If you take the knife out of my back 6 inches, you know, it's
Exactly.
not progress yet." Right?
It's not all the way out. And she certainly knew what was going on in Nigeria.
Oh, absolutely.
And Kenya,
Yeah,
and didn't go to Parliament and say, we need to stop this right now.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of opportunities for people to feign, you know, ignorance and distance when the actual acts have already been perpetuated and maintained to such an extent that you can just step into this space and receive the benefits of colonization, but you don't have to receive necessarily all the stigmas because you're not as profoundly directly, you know, involved, but you're still responsible because, you know, this is seats that you took control of, and for 70 plus years, you know, this is.
Oh, I know.
It's not like, you know, you just came in there for a couple of weeks and it's all thrown in your lap. Like there were many opportunities.
We left England because we didn't like the idea of a king, but now we just can't get enough.
Yeah, that's a tragic irony.
Of the idea of a king. You want a king around here?
Yeah, if anybody should be, you know, critical, you know, of monarchies and taxation without representation and unjust treatment, Americans collectively. It's an opportunity for us to get along and agree on something. For everything we disagree on in America, we seem to have a consensus that we don't want a king, we're not with the monarchies, and people should have the right to be
But we just
sovereign.
lap it up.
Yeah.
Watching it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again,
Always a pleasure.
this was an editorial type segment
Yes.
that we don't normally do on Good Day Philadelphia. So these are just opinions.
Just opinions.
And you have yours.